As to what President Trump will do next, we will see. But I am committed to helping him where I can. I will not be a rubber stamp to his nominees, but I will also not engage in an angry mob mentality.
Familiar face. That was South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham responding to Matt Gaetz' withdrawing as President-elect Trump's pick to be Attorney General. So what happens now that the former congressman is out? Let's bring in the all-star team. Hyma Moore and Maura Gillespie are both with us. Hyma is former director of the Office of the DNC Chair, Jamie Harrison, and Maura previously served as an advisor to former Republican House Speaker John Boehner and former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Maura, we start with you in a moment. First, we're going to start with Hyma, because you're closer to me physically. Is that a good reason?
Let's do it.
All right. There must have been some sense of relief among any number of people, Democrats and Republicans, when Matt Gaetz stood down.
I don't know if it was relief. I think people were expecting that to happen. You know, a lot of folk in D.C. and around the country were surprised that President Trump even nominated Matt Gaetz. And so I think two things happened. He's now not a member of Congress, and he's also not going to be the Attorney General. And so a lot of people are rejoicing in that. But, I mean, Donald Trump, as the elected president, has the right to appoint whomever he likes. And the Senate can confirm them or not. And so it was very obvious that over the last couple of days, Matt Gaetz was losing support in the Senate. It wasn't going to happen for him.
Let's take a listen to some of that reaction, because we've gathered some of it, Hyma, speaking to the point you just made. Take a listen.
Were senators breathing a sigh of relief over this, that they didn't have to go through this since he was so controversial?
I think there was a widespread sense of this was a positive development for the confirmation process.
There's a sense of relief about it, of course. I think he did a pretty noble thing, frankly, honorable thing by getting out himself.
So now that that's done, would you expect Trump to pivot at all, the type of person he's looking to pick for Attorney General?
I think so. I mean, look, Donald Trump is a very smart individual. In some ways, I think he played a little bit of political gamemanship by nominating Matt Gaetz to begin with. And so this next person that he nominates should have an easier, I think, experience up on the Hill with the senators. And so, look, I don't think he's going to go full-fledged, super liberal, obviously, or super moderate, but I think he'll be a little more thoughtful in this next nominee.
Maura Gillespie, let's bring you in now from New York. In his statement today, Maura, as you read it, the former congressman said he doesn't want to be a distraction. Matt Gaetz has a history of not being uncomfortable as a distraction. What do you think was behind this?
He's looking to run for governor of Florida. I mean, quite frankly, he is not somebody who has shied away from taking any and every chance to get the limelight. Matt Gaetz is known on Capitol Hill for being somebody who is just looking for a camera almost at all times and really shoving it in the faces of his colleagues. And so it's almost laughable that he went over to the Senate side pretending as though he hadn't been causing problems for them while his entire time in Congress. But I also point out that he technically could still be in Congress. He only resigned from being in this current Congress, and as he was elected, he could technically be in Congress come January.
In fact, the higher-ranking congressional officials who oversee Capitol offices and elections said, yes, if he chooses to, he could take his seat January 3rd. He would just get the worst choice of office space because they had the lottery today for office spaces. With all this drama, though, Maura, surrounding Matt Gaetz, it does kind of block out the drama that's emerging about Pete Hegseth, Trump's choice to be the defense secretary. We asked Mississippi Republican Senator Roger Wicker about Pete Hegseth and those accusations. Take a listen to what Senator Wicker had to say.
Did you have any concerns?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked it that way, because that's what I came to talk about today, is defense policy and making our country stronger so that we can stay out of wars.
The other issues are not consequential to you?
Oh, they are consequential, but I can assure you that that's what is paramount in my mind.
So, Maura, you advised Republican leaders in the past. What would you tell a Republican if you were advising him or her about how to carry the Pete Hegseth headlines that have been coming over the last 24 hours?
It's going to be tough given the fact that they do want to focus on the issues. They want to focus on policy. They want to focus on getting the job done, but at the same time to really question and look into what Pete Hegseth has done. You also have a president-elect who has been found liable for sexual assault. And so to make any accusations or to make any statements about Pete Hegseth before a confirmation hearing, you're putting yourself kind of as a hypocrite almost and contradicting yourself to make a comment there and then not have a comment for the president-elect. So I think for most of these members, it's best to avoid it until they go into the confirmation hearings and when they will then have to be faced with, okay, this came out, now how do you react? Right now it's all speculation and stories and police reports that they can read, but they're going to wait until the committee hearings to make their final decisions.
Hey, Hyma, we have a minute left. Let's talk about Democrats. How about that?
Let's do it, please.
There's a race for the DNC chair position. You have unique insight on that office and how it functions. So what should we look out for and who should we look out for?
It's been an exciting 2 days.
There it is.
So the DNC chairman's race is going to take place in February of 2025, but we've already had 2 candidates that have announced over the last couple of days. Ken Martin, who's the chairman of the Minnesota Party, a fantastic guy, and then, of course, former governor of Maryland, Martin O'Malley. Both are tremendous individuals. But there are others who are thinking about it. Mitch Landrieu is thinking about it. Rahm Emanuel is thinking about it. Ben Wickler in Wisconsin is thinking about it. And of course, if you're Stacey Abrams and Keisha Lance Bottoms, you got to think about it as well, particularly if you're a black woman in leadership. And so it's going to be an opportunity for Democrats to sort of realign our agenda, our messaging. There's been a lot of talk about how we approach economic messaging over the last couple of years, couple of cycles. So that's going to come up. The union support is going to be back on the table in some ways. And so you'll have a lot of conversations around the Democratic agenda. But the race is an insider's game. Only 500 or so people vote for the chairman, Democratic members of the DNC. And so you'll see a lot of national media about it, but the actual votes will come from the DNC members, and that's going to take place in February.
Hyma Moore, it's always an election. Maura Gillespie, thank you both for joining us.
Good to see you. Thank you.
We appreciate it.